But anyways, we have arrived, and the great news for these two is they both had an amazing showing in the Gold League. This is also officially the last cast for the first season of T90 Titans League. So you're not going to see any more TTL for roughly like 5 or 6 months, all right? But Sebastian, 20-year-old from Uruguay, came in. He got second place in his group, ended up having to fight through up against Margugu from another group in the round of 12, and then made it here. And so Sebastian earned that promotion that way. And then you had Ganji winning the group that I never thought was winnable for him, because you had Running, and then you had Dark in that group. And guess what? Ganji 3-0'd Running. He 3-0'd Dark, and I think he did lose to Running, but he just didn't lose as many games. He won like one more game, ended up in first place in that group. And so Ganji, the guy who's played in like Kami games, has been around, man, plays a lot of like team games, Black Forest, guy who doesn't commit to 1v1s maybe as much as he could or should, showed up here in the first season and got himself promoted. So again, that original plan, just to reiterate this, the original plan was to have 3 quarterfinals, then the semis and final of Gold League. However, Dark and Sitaux, 2 players who earned their self-promotion and were supposed to be in a quarterfinal, apparently can't use calendars, and then so they were not able to play, not available at all. Kind of ruined the whole thing here. So we took that additional prize pool that was going to go to the eventual semis or finalists. We distribute that from the winners of the quarters, and we say, let's watch these players play one last time. As again, the big thing for them is that they're going to be promoted to Platinum. We've got Italians for Ganji. We've got Malay for Sebastian here on Houseboat Game 1. And, well, I don't think I've seen Italians picked here before. But honestly, I don't mind it. Cheaper fishing ships. It's cheaper to go up to the next stage. Lots of things are cheap. Cheaper university techs. A lot of things that are great with Italians. I think it's an even matchup. And I think also, just like the conversation we have with like Chinese versus Malay or any other civilization which might be chosen here against the Malay, they are definitely more versatile. If this gets to late game, you have fully upgraded Hussar. You have very tanky archers. You have bombard cannon. You have Genoese crossbowmen, which I think will be unhelpful in this particular matchup because the opponent doesn't have strong cavalry. But anyways, I think Italians overall on land and on water are a bit underrated, so I think it's a good move. Actually, they're not underrated on water, I'm sorry. But on land they are, and this is a combination of both. So yeah, the mini-map is staring at you guys. It kind of looks like a creepy alien at the moment. Oh god, I actually gotta stop looking at it. It's freaking me out over here. Oh, we've got a dock on the outside for Sebastian. And so I actually trained with him in January for Wandering Warriors Cup, an event that I hosted alongside my buddy Dave. And so I had done training on Houseboat with him, funnily enough. And so I know that he's very good on this map. Now, at that time, people didn't know about the map meta quite as much, so we were experimenting with a bunch of different things. But I guess the point is that Sebastian loves this map, is good on the map, and I can tell you he's very aggressive as a whole, but also will be here on Houseboat. Some players might want to be defensive, and they might want to just fish boom with the Malay, which is an option. But if I know Sebastian, he's going to try and locate the pond for the enemy. Whoa, this is a crazy far out wall here from Ganji. What? I think Sebastian's confused by that. Like, why is there a Vil there? But yeah, anyways, I think Sebastian's just going to be looking for the water, and I think he wants to click up and send villagers forward here. Today, I smacked Mongols with Italians on Arabia. Very underrated. Well, I guess it depends. I still really like Mongols in that matchup, but definitely in the mid-game, Italians have their window for sure. I guess the thing that Italians... The reason I think Italians are underrated is because we have a very power-spiky meta. Like, any civ that has instant bonuses or, like, faster researching this or earlier researching that... Those are the civilizations that players tend to take advantage of the most. But actually, I think Sebastian has changed his plan, by the way. He is going feudal, but he hasn't found the water yet. I think he might just fish it home. But yeah, Italians don't really have that. It's just a discount on certain things. And for whatever reason, the discount on units is not necessarily seen as like quite as strong as a whole. Now, there are situations where the discounts obviously works, but it's just not the same. So, all right, so Ganji's gone for the super Omega wall, and is going for 2 docks at home. And so he's gone for the safe approach. And then Sebastian, I think he wanted to rush, but he didn't know where the water was until now. So his plan's kind of been all over the place, which means that I don't love how this is playing out, because if Ganji notices that this dock is here, Ganji's already going to be in feudal, and Ganji's already going to have 2 docks, so everything should be okay for Ganji. All that said, though, is Ganji is about to be attacked over here, or not, never mind. The scout's just looking around. But Ganji doesn't actually see this guy, so Ganji's like, oh, I can fish boom. This is perfect. It's not going to be perfect, though. Even if he were to realize now, it's fine, because he has 2 docks versus 1. But so far, he doesn't have any clue. And this is not something you can really do against the Malay, by the way, because the Malay have tons of vision on their docks. You'll see after Sebastian completes this. I think Sebastian was still double-checking, though. And, oh, Ganji, 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 Ganji. Painful. Okay, well, here he's going to attack the scout. He really wants to kill that. That's close. They're fighting over geese, guys. Ganji's going to lose this fight? Oh, they're both trying to get to the hill. I think Ganji loses this fight, and he realizes it. No, he's on the hill now. He's still on the hill. Ganji's going to win the fight now. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of fire ships in that dock, though. Okay, back to the hill goes Sebastian. Ganji gets a hill shot, though. Okay, this should be... Unless it's a hill hit. No! It was 2 HP versus 6, but on the hill you do a bit more damage. And now Ganji loses his scout. And now he's like, wait, are you kidding me? How is there a fire ship here? And he's going to be so frustrated with himself. Dang. Now, I mean, he can recover, but he really thought that he was going to be uncontested here, and now this just gets frustrating. Great micro from Sebastian, though. A lot of players would have just assumed they were going to lose there, like I said. And he at home is also adding a few fishing ships, but it's been all defense for Ganji. I said this earlier in the day. Someone said, what's Ganji's style? More macro-oriented. I think the longer the game goes, the better it is for Ganji. But for Sebastian, he seems to be more the aggressor as he now adds a second dock. And I love Sebastian's position. Like, this is the worst possible start for Ganji. Because what you wanted to do here was you wanted to take these 2 salmon. And now you can't do that comfortably. Look how bad the fish efficiency is. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to use wood for fish traps. So now you've got to queue up a bunch of freaking ships, and your fishing is off, and you also lost your scout as well, so... It's not like it's not manageable, but it's just going to be tougher for him to handle than it will be for Sebastian, especially if Sebastian can macro his way to Castle Age. He's been on berries here. Got perfect amount on gold. He's got some sheep that he transported underneath his TC. His fish are looking great. And again, he is Malay. Also has a repair villager, but not using the repair villager. Ganji pulls back with his ship. Well played. He's got some weak ones in there. And all of a sudden, it's looking a little bit better for Ganji. Still has 10 fishing ships and is taking what's left of the salmon. But oh my god, this demo, this demo, this demo, this demo! Come on! Oh, it's perfect! Oh, he noticed. He's like, wait a second. Let's spread our ships out just in case. But that was the moment there for Sebastian, but I imagine he was doing other things. And his ship, is it stuck back there? Oh, it's not stuck back there. Okay, he was just hiding. I would do the same. I would not want to fight 1v6. No, thank you. Also, there goes the demo. And the demo takes out 2 ships. Could be better, could be worse there. You can see Sebastian wants to click up, but he was late with his buildings here. And slowly but surely, Ganji's going to catch up with the resources. Remember, it is also cheaper for the Italians to click up. But Ganji's been able to take his food. Ganji's resources are looking good. And Ganji's going to click up first, possibly. Of course, right as I say it, then finally Sebastian clicks up because these people are just designed to make me look bad. Yeah, there's the click up for Sebastian. Now there's a click up for Ganji. But guys, Sebastian might not have his docks when he makes it to Castle Age. He's so desperate to land a big demo here. He wants the ships to go into this little hole. Just have to be patient if you're Ganji and try and spread your ships out as much as humanly possible. Still produce Navy, obviously. Neither player sold their stone. Both players have decent food income, so they might be able to add second TCs and boom. And as always on Houseboat, we could see the games go late. This is a trick to get all the fire ships to go to one spot so the demo can pop out. But Ganji will know that's the trick. Now he's even sending a Vil around. I don't know, man. Okay, so Sebastian will have to research War Galley at home here. Researching it on the front would be horrible. But I'm not sure it really matters from here. He doesn't have a lot. He still needs that demo to get a lot of value. And actually, he just goes for the town center. I think he realizes that maybe water is just not going to be it for him. I actually really like how stubborn he's been here. And Ganji was expecting the faster Castle Age to possibly lead to him losing water. But now Ganji will be able to clear this. Well played, Ganji. KD will be 9, maybe 10 to 5 here. And also the fishing ships can be on fish traps now. Not too bad. And also you've got some walls down in most places as well. So I don't think any night pressure will accomplish much. But we do actually have a stable for Sebastian. Sebastian adding TC number 3. Sebastian adding TC number 3. You do still need to transport your villagers from the center TC, which is annoying, not easy, but part of Houseboat. All right, to my viewers watching right now, who is the lead? Who wins this game from here? I want an answer on that. Obviously, a couple houses go down. That's not really a big deal. Gonna wait for people's answers before I give my thoughts on everything. Don't say it depends. That's mine. Only Viper and I can say that. All right, we have that copyrighted. It's a joint copyright. Ganji. Okay, so a lot of people said Sebastian though. Okay, interesting. I mean, the truth is it depends. So that person got it right. I mean, if you had to pick one, obviously, and you don't want to say that, I think you could kind of go either way. I would prefer Ganji's position because he has more fishing ships and because he's got fish traps out. And I feel like the farm transition could be a bit easier for him. But we honestly haven't seen horse color yet. And it doesn't feel like a lot of action's really going to happen. I mean, Sebastian has some map control with his scouts. Sebastian is going to get relics. That's good for late game. But as I say relics, there's actually only one relic on this map. So adding the monks at this stage of the game might not be the most important thing ever. Love how Ganji continues to add fish. So you have your town centers, but then you're going to have the fishing ships. And Ganji also has an outpost, which means this villager would be spotted. And Ganji says, nope, actually, I can quick wall like a god. And you suck. So he's just going to wall her off. And now she's going to go stonewall herself in here. Sneaky, sneaky play from that villager. We see a stable and we see a monastery for the Swede Ganji. Sweden versus Uruguay, guys. Have you ever seen Age of Empires match Sweden versus Uruguay? I don't think you have. I don't think I have. I mean, these would be the only two, right? I mean, there's like, there are some other highest level players from Sweden. I don't think there's too many from Uruguay. But no one has really hit the heights of Ganji unless you were to count Fatslav. But Fatslab's more of like, he's more of a famous person. He's not necessarily a high level competitor. That villager, she ended her own life, by the way, because she was about to be converted. I don't blame her at all. And we still see fish trapping from both players. So the pawns will be very much be important. But we've got a knight from Ganji. As there's outposts everywhere in the middle of the map right now. Ganji will go for this villager. Let's see if Sebastian also quick walls. Okay, Sebastian goes for the quick wall and fails the quick wall. All right, that decides the game right there. Ganji wins. Well done, guys. You can stop now. That's the game. is the quick wall contest of 2022. You didn't know? Oh, that's sad. You should have read the rules. 22 on food versus 19 on food. I am still, as much as I love the fish trapping, I am still surprised we are not seeing more farm transitions, right? Like, we're seeing farms, but we're not seeing many farms. And we're not seeing horse collar either. There's the resources collected. Oh, that's true. Isid is also from Sweden. But, oh, God, this is huge, man. Oh, man, imagine making 23 fishing ships for fish traps and then getting castled on your shoreline. Oh, this could be a nightmare. Oh, wait. It also could get denied, though. You need to delete this? Ooh, shoot. Ganji's gonna lose his monks! Oh, he got a conversion, though. That's nice. But I feel like losing those 2 monks there is the difference between the castle going up and the castle not going up. Because if the monks got a conversion on the night, and then the scout was able to kill the monk here, I think it's a very different situation. RNG's dead. Wall on your villagers, Sebastian. Wall on your villagers, because Ganji's going to see this one. And Ganji's got knights. And there he goes. He's making some houses. That castle should go up. Now Ganji has to make a decision, and Ganji's going to drop a castle here. And Ganji very much wants to go to the Imperial Age here. So it's a great castle from Sebastian. He has a lot more vills in queue. Notice how Ganji has stopped, as Ganji just wants to go imp. Scout also might get converted. Ganji's got a lot to focus on right now. He's probably adding buildings and maybe even thinking about docks. And once this castle's up, he will go up to imp. There he goes. I think to start, you kind of have to commit everything to defending your own pond, right? Like, get War Galley, produce. I think the issue for Sebastian is this doesn't lead to a dock. Right? Like, it's a forward castle into no Imperial Age. And now you're not docking. Like, if you had like 4 docks immediately, they make a bunch of navy, and then you push this, maybe this is good. Can you imagine? This is the imp TC, by the way, for Ganji. So, like, if Trebs came out, or even like tons of water control, maybe it could do something. But I think Ganji's going to hold this. And now Sebastian with the market, he actually sells the majority of his stone. He's going to click up. But again, is not hitting those fishing ships as of now. And now Ganji, you know, the writing's on the wall that he could lose his fish, so he's just going to farm a little bit. University for him, ballistics would make a lot of sense. Then chemistry, I like the Navy edition. It's a perfect move. Do you want to create that much Navy, though? That's what's so funny on this map, is like, you make 30 naval ships to protect your pond, and then that's 30 population that applies to 5% of the map. I don't know. Maybe my percentages are wrong there. Because I think Sebastian is going to just focus on land. And Ganji doesn't have a lot prepped for that just yet. But also, maybe you should question Ganji making this much. Actually, he doesn't see if there's docks there. So I think he's just assuming that's why his opponent would go forward castle. We will see archers for Sebastian. Catching up on upgrades. Would love to see chemistry from both players, because both these civs get bomber cannons. Also love the wall here from Sebastian, so he never gets raided and he can focus on the middle. Yeah, Ganji's like, where are his docks? And he's like, wait, what? That's so funny, man. Yeah, there's 1 relic collected by Sebastian. Now Sebastian's going to drop a castle here. It will be 2 castles versus 1 castle. And also, Sebastian has quite a bit on stone. He's also kind of stealing some of that stone from Ganji. But Ganji's got stone back there, too. Ganji may be a little concerned here. Going for a move that I don't agree with. I don't think this tower will ever work. And I think he realizes the same, so he just bails on the idea. Has a treb on the way. Has a decision to make on what direction he trebs. I would treb this one down now. Because this area is not a threat right now. You have Navy for that. Also, you don't have to... You could stay on the hill as well, which you might not be able to do with your Treb against this castle, though it's close. And then once chemistry's in, he will be able to make bombard cannons. So I think he's set to defend. It's just he's a little cramped right now. Okay, Sebastian now in the Imperial Age. And Sebastian making those crossbows. Again, that's a big difference, because we don't have a lot of land army right now for the Swede. He's getting guard tower as well. Must have clicked that at some point when he placed that other tower. Adding more ranges. He is going to go Arbalest Skirm, so now his army count's going to go up. And he is ahead with the techs. And also he's going to sneak over here to drop a TC, which I love, because, again, otherwise he's kind of stuck here. Bombard cannons are on the way as well from Ganji. So he's just using that faster Imperial Age to be one step ahead. And also, I'm being told Sebastian deleted his MTC? He didn't delete his MTC. His imp was always going to be a little bit after Ganji's. He deleted this TC. I don't think he deleted his MTC, surely. Ooh, crossbows. We'll check that later. Crossbows going against the villagers here. Did he really? No way he deleted that. We'll double check. We'll double check. I trust you guys because enough people are saying he did. Sebastian will lose this castle now. He'll be happy with this, though. This is a really big deal to deny that control, but Ganji can now expand. Ganji's upgrades are fairly solid. Ganji's going to kill these old men. Ganji kills the monks. And there's still no Arbalest for Sebastian, and these forward castles are slowly going down. And his Trebs have to back away, and he thought the early Imperial Age into forward castle play would do something for him. The only thing it's really done is it has put Ganji in a situation where he has navy he doesn't really need. But that'll be helpful for now, right? Like, it's not like it's the end of the world. You could maybe delete a couple ships, like the fire ships or something. So Elite Skirm makes perfect sense from both players. We have a mix right now from Ganji, so he's got Skirms and he's got Arbalest. You're going to see mainly Arbalest right now for Sebastian. And look how Ganji positions his Skirms on the front. Arbs on the back, Skirms on the front's the way to do it, because the Skirms are the tanks. Sebastian's still desperate, guys, but I don't think he has a flow to this game, as he got castled over here. He will lose this castle. Ganji needs to repair his trebuchets, but I think Ganji could even use his bombard cannon there up against the trebuchets from Sebastian. Loses a treb. Maybe gets pulled over now. 36 skirms in queue for Ganji. He just needs to wait for those units to arrive, and he should be good to go. No bombard cannons yet from Sebastian. I think that's a missing ingredient here in this push. You need to make sure you have bombard cannons. And then the main thing, and the scary thing about Malay is, like, if it's not our bombard cannon, what is it? What wins you the game? Light Cav switch is not it. They have awful cavalry. And now we have Pavise. Let's go. Sorry, misclick. Pavise's coming in. Great tech to get in this situation. Also some big shots there from Ganji. That gives the archer line. Doesn't affect skirms, but the archer line more armor for the Italians. So they get that. And then they also have full stable line to work with. And so they're just not as one-sided as the Malay. You could try and go two-handed swordsman. I know a lot of people get excited about that. Two-handed swordsman behind force levy. Your two-handed swordsmans don't cost gold, but they're still two-handed swordsmen. It's like if I gave you... This might be a really bad example because I already know what some of you are going to say. Let's say I gave you like $50,000 to buy a car, all right? And then I presented you with options, and I don't even know what a $50,000 car is, but just insert a $50,000 car name into the chat. And I said, you could get one of these, which works really well and can probably win you the game of life. Or you could have 50 $1,000 cars that are rusty and having some problems and might fail you. What would you take? Now, I know some people are going to be like, well, I'd buy like a $5,000 car and then I'd save the money, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be all smart and whatnot. Like, I can hear my dad right now, like, why would you ever spend $50,000 on a car? But, so again, maybe a bad example, but the point is again, two-handed swordsman is still just a two-handed swordsman. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Depends, are we trying to win Demolition Derby? Yeah, I guess if you're trying to win Demolition Derby, you might want 50 cars. 50K for a car is a lot. Guys, it's just an example. You're focusing way too much on the specifics of the example, okay? Also, again, like, I've had some beaters in my day, and I've loved it, so probably not the best one. Oh, man, we have docks now from Ganji, so he could start to use some of that Navy he teched into to take out the fish. Again, game 1 here of a best of 5, so I could see Sebastian just seeing that population and feeling like, I'm still in a good spot. Like, or he probably doesn't feel like he's in a good spot, but he feels like he's not in a bad enough spot to resign. But yeah, we've got light cav, armor coming in. The Hussar switch should just be the killer blow. And what a great play from Ganji. It's a little late to seeing the rush from Sebastian. I think for Sebastian, he wanted to rush Imp, and he wanted to rush a forward castle, but he didn't exactly know what to do with it at the time that he tried it. And Ganji's unit control has been perfect over the last 10 minutes. He got to the correct unit composition. His eco is perfect as well. Constant production of his ranged units, the addition of bombard cannons, and there it is. We have the GG. Okay, so you guys are telling me he deleted his MTC, though. Let's see. Okay, so that was when he made it to Imp. Oh my god, no. No way! No way! It was at 3 seconds? What? It was at 3 seconds. I mean, with any other Civ, I would have realized, I think, because Malay advanced so fast. Oh my god. Okay, so let's think about this. So if he goes and gets Imp right after this, he could get chemistry and get bomber cannons out faster. And then he would have Trebs first. Wow, this is all before he even tried to place this castle too. Dang. So here it is, guys. 93%. And he just had the biggest brain fart of his life. And at 97.63% deletes that TC. Oh, and then he realized it too. In his mind, he was probably like... He's probably thinking, I'm sick of using this TC. So let's just delete it once we get to Imp. And then... I don't know, like, how you delete it beforehand and not realize that. But, yeah, he has to re-click the Imperial Age. Dang. Well, the timing would have made a lot more sense if he didn't delete that, right? Instead, you know, upon doing that, as we don't need to just zoom through the rest of it, it just felt like Ganji was able to get the timings on everything, and that's where the problems came in. Still, I felt like it was a really close and really good game up until the Imperial Age, and Ganji had a much better focus on wood and food in this game. Sebastian had more of the stone gold focus, but just didn't have the units he could really make there. Sheesh, that's painful, though. I feel so bad for him. Oh, man. But hey, here we are. Sebastian lost the first game. We reviewed it, and he deleted his MTC with 3% to go. Actually, it was like 2.2% to go. And maybe that would have changed the whole game. It was a close game up until then. Kind of sad to see that, but Ganji's gone for the Mayans. What? Going for the Mayans. Not something I was expecting here. Not a civilization that normally competes for water. Very good on land, though, so maybe he would just forget about the water. Huns can kind of do it all. They're very flexible, and Sebastian used this civilization in his previous set, and that was the best of 5 that determined whether or not he would be here. Him being here means he's in that top 8, and he will be promoted to Platinum next season. So I imagine he's going to use Huns in the same way, try and compete for the water a little bit, and then play out into land like archers and skirms and scouts. It's not like you can't dock if you're Mayans, but I think you will dock your one pond, but you probably would just forget about it. Because I think the water is helpful enough where you almost have to, regardless of your civilization. but then you don't have to compete for the next water. And that's the other thing too. It's like there's only 4 deep fish. So it's helpful and it's probably worthwhile for everybody, but it is arguable if it's worthwhile to even try and take the other ponds later. So I guess we'll find out, right? Someone says they want like a TTL weekly show. Well, I think I learned a lot. And we've learned a lot about how this league in general will play out, and we'll make some tweaks going into the next season. But as a content creator, I'm beyond happy with how things have gone. I was really torn on it because I knew I was going to be casting the entire event, and for years, I'd cover all these events, but I'd never put all of it on the YouTube channel because it kills the YouTube out. It can really affect how the YouTube channel grows. And also, I'd say like maybe 50% of the people who might watch my YouTube videos, they don't want to grind out tournament sets and watch tournament sets. So I was super torn on how to handle it. But now that, you know, I've been able to bring in Hardy and have a full-time editor, and like we have all these ideas that we can actually pursue and work on, ever since the switch of platforms, I was like, screw it, let's go for the third channel. And the third channel's been awesome, man. Like really, really awesome. Like we got monetized by YouTube almost immediately because the viewership goals were hit. We almost have like 10,000 YouTube subscribers. And the viewership's been really high there. So I'm really happy. So thank you everyone who like has looked at the TTL playlist and watched that. And also the extras channel will not just be like extra tournament casts. It might also be like some of my gameplay stuff, but it's just like more content, which I would never be able to do. Having a shorts channel and then the extras channel and then the main channel and then also streaming 40 hours a week and organizing events and playing in events and preparing for things and everything else that goes on. And there's like 5 or 6 different things I have to handle. I just wouldn't be able to do it. So I've been really happy with things. So thank you guys. And anyway, so what made me talk about this, someone said they wanted a review show. So I did do some reviews of the group stage, and that's something I could do a better job of next time, but I thought that was fun. And we will do a video where I round up everything at the first season, talk about what happened, and give more like specific details on how I felt things went. So I digressed a little bit, but Sebastian got this dock up. Ganji got the dock up. As expected so far. I'm just wondering how Ganji will open this. I feel like if I was Ganji, I would want to go... I think if I was Ganji, I would want to go archers. Because Man-at-Arms is normally out of the question because you don't have the wood count after docking. You could do it, but you'd have to pull a bunch of vills to stragglers right now, and you might need to avoid making a 4th fishing ship. And it's not like... Actually, having 3 fishing ships is fine. Yeah, we'll know what he's doing based on the barracks timing. Like, if he was going Man-at-Arms, he would almost need the barracks to be going up right now with a couple villagers. A normal Man-at-Arm build, you're building the barracks before you click feudal, so yeah, I just don't think that's feasible. But wow, he's actually going to this gold. And we have Sebastian opening this like he's going to do the same thing he did up against his opponent in the previous series. And I think he'll be opening ranges as well. Again, as we've said before, this is where Huns start to feel very strong because they don't have to make the houses. As Sebastian, curious what his opponent is up to, did see the mining camp. And I think he should know when he sees the barracks that it won't be Men-at-Arms. Glad you like the answer. Yeah. No, I mean, you got me talking, man. You definitely got me talking. All right, so they both see the barracks from each other, and it's pretty much the same opening. Both civs had different bonuses at play here. And yeah, again, I feel like maybe it's a numbers thing. But here's the thing about Huns. If you make too many skirms here, which you would easily justify because your opponent will probably go archers, then you're open to an eagle switch later on. And all-in eagles can end games. And it's actually the same thing if you're Ganji. If you make too many skirms, the opponent could go scouts or knights. So they both have an opening towards archers, which could bait them into making skirmishers, but you don't want to make too many, and it's just complicated. Also, I think Ganji's going to slowly wall this way. Though I'm not too sure. We have an outpost from Ganji on either side of his wood line just to make sure he's not being towered. Can happen a lot on Atacama. We have Sebastian with his range. And then another range. And he has made a bit of a, like a natural wall off, I guess, to protect his wood lines. We have a second eagle now, and a third eagle on the way for Ganji. And Ganji must be confused because of the way his units are pathing right now, but he probably realizes at least there's a wall there. And Ganji says, let's tower, and I love this. I think this is a good move. Obviously, Sebastian can always still take this wood line, but it's good control and vision in the middle of the map. And Sebastian sees the vills now, so Sebastian will know a tower's coming in. Ganji with the quick gate. I think the scout was always going to loop around anyways. Okay, so Sebastian probably just went to click Fletching, and now he just makes a counter tower, and I love that move as well. Also, underrated move. Ooh, scout going in for the archer. Ooh, but now the eagles are going in for the archers. This is really intense. But an underrated move would be just like 2 villagers on stone. It's probably not the only time you're going to want towers in this match. I would love that for both players, but sometimes it's hard to float that wood when you're spending so much on archers. Wow, Sebastian has played this one really well. He's so good on this map. Look at his micro. His micro is disgusting. It honestly makes me sick. The runner micro with the scout, while also doing runner micro with a villager underneath the tower. And his scout gets value that very few players get. And here he comes out with his army production. He's got 9 army now after a 5-to-1 KD. But also, Ganji's been working off of 1 range. I don't think 1 range is really going to cut it here. Comes some range units, obviously from both. So Ganji's got to fight with a numbers disadvantage. But he knows the scout is weak, so he doesn't have to be too scared of that. And now he's sniping the archers quite nicely. Unfortunately, couldn't get the shot off there in the scout. So actually, the scout gets more value than you would ever want to allow. Because that archer didn't fire before it died. And Sebastian is just waiting for these vills now. He's just waiting for these villagers to no longer have a place to hide. Repairs, attacks on the vills, garrison from Ganji. Still does feel manageable for Ganji if Ganji can get an army to deal with this, but I think Ganji needs to be using his tower to attack the army. And never mind, now he's going to make a run for it, but Sebastian knows these villagers are weak. And so he's actually just blocking them. He's getting in front. He's still going for the army for the most part. But he's able to block the villager pathing a little bit. I don't know, like, in Ganji's shoes, you might get your way back into the game with military because the skirmishers could win for your vills, but that's tricky. We have another villager heading this way for Ganji, who again has this wood line and only this wood line. He's adding a second barracks now. So, not only is the eagle flood a dangerous thing in the long term, but on maps where you don't have a lot of food eco, sending a crap ton of villagers to gold and buying food can be strong. Now, that might be too many for this tiny gold pile, but still. There's definitely some opportunities here for the Swede. Skirms could also, in worst case, just like hide behind their wood line and defend from any range units that might come out. Sebastian just loves his different groups of armies. KD's now 11-8 for him. Definitely liking his food eco a lot more, though. Actually, so Ganji had clicked his villager here onto a shorefish because he wanted to dock there. But he doesn't have the wood for right now, so the villager's actually running all the way back. Look at her hold the fish! How that happens all the time, right? Why am I just now noticing that? Sick. Dang, she's got some arms on her. But yeah, Sebastian has the wood. Sebastian will dock. Obviously, Ganji's probably very distracted with his micro as well, so he didn't even notice that was happening. He'll notice, like, right about now as he looks over there, maybe. Because he's got the wood for it. Pops out here with an archer. I don't think he was expecting this attack. And once again, Sebastian's micro is on point. Skirms immediately after the archer. This archer runs over to the other group. There's 4 eagles in the mix, but Fuel Age eagles aren't that strong. Right now, they'll also have no upgrades. Now an upgrade's coming in. And the micro is going to matter for both, but Sebastian has more range units. Sebastian also has much better food eco right now. Skirms helping a little bit. This is before armor comes in. There's 17 skirms for Sebastian. Honestly, if he's got a couple archers in there with that many skirms, maybe he can whittle down the feudal age eagles. So notice Ganji did knock on the stone to recoup the cost of the tower, so he could be hit on his wood line. And I think Ganji feels like, all right, I'm not going to lose Vils right away. This is going to suck. But I could maybe just avoid this army, and I can get a counterattack in. And this is the way you bring yourself back into games, guys. Let's see what Sebastian does, because the last thing you want to do is react here. But you might have to. Hasn't killed anything. Maybe could send archers here, but... Okay, he added some walls. Will he come home now? Looks like he's kind of having to come home. There's the villager on the dock again. Ganji might never remember she exists. But you see what Ganji did? Ganji is now safe in this area because he went forward. And now he's used the market like a crazy person. But he actually... Oh, he sold too much. Or I guess he bought too much. And I don't think Sebastian's going to have a bad castle age time either. Not to mention Sebastian still has a larger army. Sebastian also still has scouts. And... Also, I think Sebastian is undefeated on this map. Someone would have to check, but he beat... Oh, no. I don't know if he played Sitaux on it. I think he beat Sitaux on Cross, actually. Or Four Lakes, but... He's so good at it. And he always plays the Huns as well, which I have to appreciate. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to win this game. It's been a close game, 18 to 15 KD. Eco-wise, looking at resources collected, Sebastian has definitely had more in the way of food and wood. But that's normal, right? Mayans are always going to have a lot on gold. And also, how effective are these skirmishers going to be if there's eagles out in the castle age? Ganji thinking about fighting. Don't think it's a fight he should take right now. Once they become castle age eagle warriors, then I think this becomes a lot more dangerous for the opponent. Also, look at this. Doesn't have quite a bit on wood, but he's got so much on stone. He's definitely thinking about a castle. Sebastian is not. Sebastian's probably going to be 2 stable knights, 2 or 3 range cav archers, lots of army, no castles. Here he is. He'll attack. There's a weak villager in there, but he goes for the archers instead. And Ganji reacts here, loses some army. 13 seconds away from being in the next stage, though. He actually has eagles inside of his town center that he probably hasn't realized. He probably thinks he's probably pressing go back to work. But he thinks that his villagers are going to go back to work, but he's going to eventually realize there's eagles in there. Sebastian's going to trade off these skirms. He knows they're going to die anyways. So he's killing as many archers as possible. But look at the army count now. Ganji says, who needs wood? I'm just going to spam eagles. He has 11 eagles. And now you've got 6 archers you could maybe upgrade. 2 scouts you could maybe upgrade. And it's going to have to be knights for Sebastian. That's why he's got 3 stables. And here he comes. Thankfully, Hun stables do produce faster. So he should be able to get enough knights out to defend. But if there's map control, Ganji could drop a perfect castle right here. Also, there's a hole here, which could make a massive difference. Does he see that? He does. But he also doesn't want to lose his villagers here, so he runs. He loses 1. Wheelbarrow on the way for Sebastian, who will have the knight numbers. There's no doubt. He'll get there. Also, just buying time with some more house walls. Or not house walls, sorry. He's on palisade walls. Okay. Ganji doesn't have Eagle Warrior. It's just Eagle Scout. Eagle Warrior costs a lot of food. And he must realize, if his opponent's just being patient here, he must realize that this could be bad for him. And here's the fight, and what a great fight for Sebastian. Also, what's left of his range units going for the range units from Ganji, and this gets a complete wipe. Man, that was sick. Now, he still loses some vills here. He still could be castle dropped. But meanwhile, the second TC's up for Ganji. I think he actually has been selling his stone, so he doesn't feel like the castle drop would actually work. I think Ganji's worried now, and he's lost these eagles here. He tried to get a counter raid in, and I think got distracted. Now all of his focus is at home as he's still selling stone. So he just completely just gave up on the idea of a castle drop. Oh, but he spent so much time collecting stone. And he's still in an all-in eagle situation as he's going to try and go monks as well. But, like, guys, it is... Yes, getting 7 base attack on Eagle Scout at the start of Castle Age is huge. But you need to get that Eagle Warrior upgrade. It's such an important part of that rush. Knights are going to be even better against the Eagles then if you don't do that. Ganji's going to take this fight and try for conversion. He might get the conversion. But will he have his monk remaining after this? I don't think so. Well, maybe he will. The monk runs away, but the Eagles are all gone. Ganji's got nothing. And now he doesn't have a castle. Now, let me just double check. Okay, Sebastian hasn't deleted his TC. So if he doesn't delete his TC here, I think Sebastian will win. And he does get the win. A sick game there. You know, it really felt like Sebastian was the one who was controlling this game. Ganji did try with the tower. And Ganji, you know, he benefited from that tower. But Sebastian knew the tower could come. Immediately counter-towered. Sebastian had more army throughout Feudal Age. He had more control throughout Feudal Age. And then he was able to dominate in Castle Age. His food eco was much better than Ganji's throughout this game. He was able to fish in this pond. He had already fished out this pond. And he was going to start fishing in this pond. While also having transitioned into farms a lot earlier. And for Ganji, it was a whole lot of market usage there. And I think he needed the early Castle Age window to work for him. And he just couldn't get there in time. The eco was too good for Sebastian. And the defense was patient and calculated. And man, did he look good there. That's the second time today we've seen someone going Eagles, though. And not getting Eagle Warrior. I really think the reason for it, though, is just the fact that they're using the market so much. But my thing is, if you're going to use the market to get to Castle Age with Eagles, at least use the market to get Eagle Warrior. Because then it matters. Then you have a better fight. I still think he would lose the fight, but he wouldn't lose the fight quite as badly here. And, you know, maybe those Eagles would have done more damage had he microed them underneath the TC. Okay, we're catching up to speed because I had to go get some caffeine. Ganji's in the blue playing as the Chinese. I love this civilization for this map. And then Sebastian has the Magyars. I also love this civilization for this map. Now, if you watch the previous game, you know that Sebastian loves to play open and with control on a map that's almost impossible to wall. This map is another map where you can play open with army control with aggression. However, I've seen walls happen enough where I think that Ganji's going to have that in the back of his mind. Walling here, maybe towards the berries, walling here towards the edge of the map. If you could wall that off, and those Magyar scouts aren't able to destroy him in Feudal Age, I do think the Chinese are the better late Feudal and then early Castle Age Civ. But I mean, we're assuming an awful lot. I still think we'll see a scout opening for Ganji. I think the key is that you don't try and be too aggressive with the walls. And it's been a nice series so far. Also, just, you know, so pleasant to know that these guys are going to move on to Platinum. And that there's more prize pool on the line for them here. And thanks for showing up, everybody. Thank you, everyone who's watching on TTL playlist on YouTube. I don't think I'm going to record my my sum up video for the first season of TTL today, but I'll probably get it out once we get everything up on the second channel. But again, I've been pleased with everything so far. Definitely some things will rework for the next time. But kind of surpassed my expectations for the first season. You've got like 85 to 100 deer on the map. Robo told me that 100 deer are attempted to generate every time. I forget how he worded it. Like the script will generate 100 deer. I always seem to check it this time. So maybe they've already eaten like 3 or 4 deer each. It says 80 now. But I'm sure that like a couple deer might not generate because of a tree here or there. I'm guessing 19 population for Sebastian, but I'm really hoping he goes no loom. Go 19 population, no loom, and it is as fast as if you were to go 20 population with loom. And so you have one more villager, and you don't, as the Magyars, need to be concerned about the Chinese drushing you or them being faster to feudal, because that's not something that's really on the cards for the Chinese. Yep, this is perfect. And then you just get loom after you're in feudal. Now, let's say it wasn't the Chinese. Let's say it was like Mongols and Magyars. then you'd probably want to get Loom because that starting scout could be over faster and could be in feudal faster and could destroy you. Yeah, normally the fastest uptime you'll see from Chinese is like 22 pop because they start with no food. Maybe 21. But yeah, and they're going to know that your scout's going to be out and that you'll be in feudal age faster, so they usually, especially on a hunt map, are going to keep their scout at home. There goes Ganji. Ganji clicks up at 22. But you can see that he had to really drop off that food there to make it happen. Yeah, Bruce, I think we did a really good job with the map pool. I don't think there was a single bad map. I think they're also... How do I word this? I don't think we had a big issue with maps being civ wins. I think we had civs being civ wins because certain civs need to be balanced, and I had requested a patch prior to this season, but it was never going to happen. But like, you know, like Burgundians, Hindustanis, Gurjaras, yeah, those are all civilizations that are really strong. Obviously, now we're seeing a lot of those civilizations banned out a little bit more, but still, like, I think the maps have always been good. I remember I was concerned about Mongols on this map, and Mongols actually don't have a win rate over 50% as a whole, which means they've lost a lot on this map because they were played a lot on this map. I could go through other examples, but I've been really happy with it. The only thing that maybe we need is, like, I think maybe a pure water map some people would have desired. So we might have a pure water map next time. Again, my plan is to have 5 to 6 of these maps return, and then we'll rotate in 5 to 6 new maps for the next season. It'll also be winter the next season, at least winter for me. So I think I could see myself doing like some winter-themed maps, like Scandinavia, like maybe some Ghost Lake, stuff like that. Yeah, maybe we mix in like more of a pure water map next time. Anyways, let's see how Sebastian plays this. I love this player, man. But it's precisely how you should play the matchup, at least at the start. He's not walling. He's going to go take more hunt, and he's ready. He's looking, and he wants to find the opponent, and he wants to kill the opponent and stop the walls. And this is the risk. You try and wall, and those scouts will show up, and you could lose your villagers. So Ganji with a nice little palisade there because he notices. And Ganji's going to go spear defense for the time being. Now, the best of the best have been able to get these walls down regardless, and then eventually the Magyar player will have the wall as well. But what I also like about how Ganji's playing this is how he's also making his own scouts, because you do not want to just defend. Sebastian's so active with his army. Sees the spearman and will know now that he's going to need a few more numbers before engaging against any of these spears. Also, you know what else I like is how, and I think this is something I'm going to try and aim for. So I don't know how many categories of maps you guys might have in your mind. But let's say there's like 5 categories. I want to have 2 of each type in the map pool, because then the ban systems, you can ban one, but you can't ban both. And it really plays towards player strengths a little bit more, I think. Best example of that would be fortified clearing in arena. If you're a guy who wants the closed maps, it is never a situation where you're not going to get one closed map, right? Because if it was just arena, we might have like never, ever seen arena, right? Because a lot of people just say, okay, we're banning that. So I think that's good. Yeah, things we'll talk about more when the league ends and we go make some videos on it. But right now, Sebastian's all over the pressure, man. But Ganji with the perfect move to counterattack. And this is why players won't play like Sebastian. But oh my god, he didn't go that way. Ganji with the nice quick wall defense. See, he's thinking the spearman will be enough for him at home. That's the hope. Here he is now on the berries. Now, Sebastian had his villagers in the position on the berries that would have been easy to save. Ganji does kill a villager, though. And Ganji's still running around with spears as Sebastian has to move around. Sebastian did kill the majority of the scouts, though, which I'm sure he'll like. And these villagers are protected. That could have been 4 villagers down right there. Now, it does get a bit awkward for both players to go out to more hunt, but also their gold right now because they've got scouts running around their base. But it should be a little bit easier for Sebastian to go. Nice gate. Unfortunately, the gate was not enough. Yeah, Yeah, it gets easier for Sebastian to go to gold if he wants to go for bloodlines or an archery range or something. There are weak scouts on the field for both players right now, and they're both one mistake away from losing all their scouts. But I think it's a pretty even game and kind of what you would want if you're Ganji at the end of the day, because you haven't been completely rolled over yet. And there doesn't seem to be any major concerns that he will get completely stomped either, as he sees 7 scouts and he's making a couple more to match. But yeah, Spearman against this number of scouts, you're going to have numbers, because otherwise you'll have big problems. There's a market for Sebastian. Let me guess, he's going to sell his stone. He wants to rush this game. He does not want this to go late. And we've seen examples of the Magyars dominating in the late game, don't get me wrong. But I think that mid game is terrifying against the Chinese. And here oh god, he's taking so many hits. And for a second there, Ganji was thinking, I think I can counterattack. And he actually chose to come home. I think he's getting concerned about this. And now I think Sebastian thinks he's counterattacking. That's amazing. Sebastian definitely thinks he's counterattacking. And now Ganji's like, maybe I should counterattack because I don't see him here. That was so good, man. Look, he's worried, man. I guarantee you, he's starting to wall up his stuff. God, if Ganji would have just gone there, though, Ganji might be on the gold already. I don't know why that makes me laugh so much. It's because of how smart the players are to know that if you don't see them, what they're doing, but they both kind of got confused there for a sec. Anyway, so now, obviously, Sebastian, he has no offensive pressure, so he's definitely expecting Ganji. I would like to see an extra scout or two, because you do end up getting an extra attack in the next stage, and it can benefit your scouts, but he's going to bring his Spearman home. I mean, this is honestly kind of risky, though. To not full wall your gold is very, very risky. And I don't like now you move out, but the timing on this just feels so wrong. But let's see. He's got his houses now because he spots it. I guess if you can do this. Oh, but now the scouts are in. And now his scouts are coming back across the map, and it's the indecision. A bit of indecision here from both players, but now, I mean, this is going to hurt Sebastian. He loses total of 4 villagers so far in this game. It's going to be 5. It's going to be 6. He had the right idea there, but Ganji hit the house because he saw the villager transferred off the house to go build the palisade wall. And Ganji's now killed 7 villagers. There's a 2-minute difference in the castle age. Sebastian, you've got to get some pressure in now. Yikes. Yeah, so basically when players will quick wall, they'll usually use like 1 or 2 vills, right? And so they go like partial house, palisade. And so when you know what's coming, as someone goes partial house, you don't move over to the open spot because they're going to go for the palisade, and you just hit the house. And you could tell Ganji did that. Sebastian tried to hit the house again, then it was too late and the scouts got in. So it was like a really close moment there. The concern I have for Ganji at the moment is that there's going to be some siege coming forward from his opponent, and he's not actually fully walled. Like, there's open spaces over here. But I don't think Sebastian knows that that's the situation, as he's going to go for a ram. Yeah, remember, he sold his stone, so he was not planning on booming at all here. And so this is definitely a moment where Sebastian knows he's on some type of clock, especially after losing those vills. And his plan is to take away the stables. And if you take away the stables, Ganji might have to make more stables, but Ganji already has 2 over here. So I honestly think Ganji will be okay. He needs to have enough camel numbers and probably a TC here to protect him. That's what I would do. I would scramble up the TC right here. Also going for pikeman choice, so pikeman camel, so he's really concerned. And monastery is always good as well. Him seeing the ram will tell him that this is an all-in, which I'm sure he expected anyways, and now Ganji's repairing the stable for some reason. That's just not the play. It's the pressure of it. It's the pressure of the situation. Now, he will have pikemen in a couple seconds, but still need to wait for that. And he did drop the TC. I think this is a perfect town center. It protects the gold and the wood line. We said this. The map can be wallable. Also, my favorite thing about Ganji's play over the last 2 minutes is his timing on his buildings and his production. He had these other stables up, so that's worked out. He got pikemen immediately. He made queued up monks immediately upon making the monastery. All these things are huge. Sometimes players won't have the resources after they make a building, or sometimes players just won't create stuff right away. Yeah, he's fine. The farming eco sucks, and he's definitely, you could tell, like, some things have gone wrong here. These villagers are heading back to work right now, and their job used to be repairing a stable that no longer exists. But yeah, he can fix that, and in theory hold against this, and then in theory be okay. A couple knights switching sides here with conversions. Sebastian will continue to make monks, and monks are going to be an important aspect of this now. But eco is hugely important, and Ganji's ahead, both with his civ, but also his situation. I just don't know how you push into this if you're Sebastian. You basically, if your opponent didn't have monks, you could. Such a perfect composition from Ganji right now. Now, a small thing you could do is you could use your knights as the counter-attacking unit if you're in Ganji's position. I don't think you should do it necessarily because you've got to like focus on a million different things. But sometimes players will do that. Oh, wow. Check this out. Yeah, like you have enough to hold. And Camel Pikeman is all you should need in theory. With your monks, of course. So they're going to trade conversions here. And we'll see how this fight goes. But those knights from Ganji are heading right towards Sebastian's base. And not only does Ganji have enough to defend here, and he does defend, but he has the counterattack showing up to the gold. And what a great game from Ganji there. That was textbook, man. I think for Sebastian, he's going to be frustrated with himself because he should have had that quick wall down. And I think that he gave Ganji a lot of time to get the counterattack in. Like, remember that moment where Ganji was actually halfway across the map and then Sebastian was about to attack him and then Ganji second-guessed himself? Well, then Sebastian second-guessed himself and ran home, and that's when I laughed. Like, if Sebastian actually runs in and continues his aggression there, Ganji never goes forward. Ganji just comes back home. You could tell Ganji was worried about moving forward. So, unfortunately, it was just, I think he put himself in a rough position and the quick walls didn't land, and then Ganji just had to hold that one out. But again, it was really well played from Ganji. Immediate pikeman play. Added an additional stable in case he would lose forward production. The TC was perfect. The monastery timing was perfect. And then the execution on the fights and the kills and the conversions was precisely what you want. The only thing is, I'm kind of disappointed for him that this counterattack didn't make the GG happen. Because that was also sick, right? Like, to have two knights heading to the gold and also defending at the same time is not something you get every day. Like I said, that's textbook stuff. And the score's now 2-1. So a nice series here, guys. This is really cool. Ganji playing Byzantines, and man, like, if we were to have a top 3 pleasant surprise list from this whole event, it might be Byzantines. The Civ that has won on Cross quite consistently. It has won on Arena in some crazy situations. What other maps have we seen Byzantines on? I know we've seen it picked on a lot of different maps, and we do have data on it. But I guess, like, the fact that it's good on Arena and Cross is very rare. Like, Turks, someone just mentioned, is good on Fortified Clearing. And it's good on Arena, and we've known that. But, like, Byzantines being good on a closed map and then a hybrid map is, like, that's not really a thing for any of these other civilizations. I've really liked Byzantines. And I think, Byzantines also been played in Golden Swamp, yes. But the thing that makes Byzantines good is a lot of the hybrid civilizations are playing into archers, and Byzantines have cheap skirms. And then Byzantines have amazing water as well. So I'm pumped. Now, if I had to choose here, I think I would choose the Byzantines. But I think that's because I am bound to make a few mistakes here or there. And I cannot play a civilization to their fullest potential all the time. And so Byzantines have a habit of bailing you out. Japanese, however, with their Dark Age, like the cheaper lumber camps, mills, etc., and then how fast their fishing ships are and how strong they are, I think that Japanese have a couple windows here. But it's just a fun civ to play. Like, oh my god, my opponent has slightly outboomed me, and they're going to be an Imperial Age faster. Oh, look, I'm Byzantines, and my Imperial Age is cheaper. Oh, nice. That's helpful. Oh my goodness, my opponent has the fire ship faster than me. Whatever will I do? Oh wait, my fire ship fires slightly faster. This is great. Oh no, my opponent has the first trebuchet. What will we do in this Trebor? Oh yeah, my castles have tons of HP. Like, I know I just kind of made that sound ridiculous, but that's essentially what Byzantines are. Like, Byzantines are mistake friendly. They allow you to make mistakes and play suboptimal, and you can get away with it, and then you can dominate. So it's actually why it's one of the most frustrating civs for me to play, because I've had like so many games where I've completely outplayed my opponent and beat them to the timings, but I didn't quite finish them off, and then it's like, oh well, Byzantines be Byzantines. So anyways, let's talk strategies for this, and let's talk a bit of history. Sebastian, who was in Group D, which will have 3 players advancing out of it. Sitaux, himself, and then Kingston. All were in Group D. They will advance into Platinum for the next season. So I was correct in saying that was the Group of Death at the start. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so Sebastian beat Sitaux, one of Sitaux's few losses. And it was funny. So it was the first week. And then Sitaux immediately came into the Discord, and he was like, hey, I think we should change the Civ draft because it leads to Civ wins. And then I watched the game, and then I watched all the other games, and I was like, dude, Sitaux, I was like, I didn't say this to him, but there's been no real Civ wins. He just got completely outplayed. But it was strong enough where Sitaux felt, there's no way I beat that, and it must be a Civ win in the first week. And I've remembered that. I think it was Lithuanians, and like Lithuanians haven't been like undefeated or anything. So yeah, I'm rambling a little bit, but the point is Sebastian's good, right? And so I think strategically you can go for the early man-at-arms with Japanese, or your next best thing is to sneak a villager. And, oh no, lady, what are you doing? Well, she was taking the fastest path. And now Ganji sees this. So Ganji will be thinking, is it man-at-arms or is it sneak villager? Is it man-at-arms or is it sneak villager? He now sees the villager. So he knows it's likely going to be a sneak. And so he doesn't want to lose his fish. So he's keeping track of this. If I were him, I might even consider sending this vill. If this gets close, I might send the vill because players will try a quick wall. But I think Sebastian might actually be changing plans. And I think Sebastian might just dock the north. Which, yeah, look at Ganji. He's like really scared now that he's going to be landed. And he's waiting for this villager to show up, but he doesn't see the vill. And it'll probably take him a moment to realize that it's not happening. He might even check this too. Like, he's going to make a house with Byzantines, which gives him free town watch. So that gives him vision on that area, but a small part of me would want to check this just to make sure the villager didn't sneak past. And yeah, all Sebastian's doing is walling off his pond and adding more fish. And meanwhile, we're going to have an archer range opening for Ganji. So Sebastian investing more into fish and into no military whatsoever. And then Ganji's going to go land archers. I think I would always go land archers if I were Byzantines, because even though you're Byzantines, you don't necessarily want to try and take out Japanese fish because they're so strong and hard to take out. Then also, as I mentioned, the other thing that Japanese do is they oftentimes send in some men-at-arms. That's kind of tricky, right? Like, I feel like you defend your pond, you're playing into archers. This is good for now, but obviously if your opponent's able to delay their own army production and then just defend against you, fish booming on 2 ponds could be really strong. Also, as always, Sebastian very active with the scouts, sees what's happening, knows what to make now. And we'll probably want to mix in some skirms. Really does need to make some fishing ships in the north right now, but is distracted and needs to spend the wood on skirmishers. So I don't even know if it's fair to say distracted. That's something you could save for later. It's all... You've got resources and you have to decide what to do with it at all times on this map. This could be a little awkward. Shouldn't be anything too major, but fletching's about to be in for Ganji, and the blacksmith is going to be delayed here. So that's, I say a little awkward because no fletching's still not in. That villager might actually survive. Ganji gets her though. Good play. That's a good first eco kill of the game. But now there's skirmishers out here, and the starting scout from Sebastian weakens the archer. Skirmishers finish the archer. Sebastian now fishing away. 7 fishing ships versus the 4 from Ganji. And counter units out there and skirmishers. And Ganji's going to build up towards the second range here, but he is very much focused on the middle of the map, not really focused on the different pawns at all, which is not really how cross is typically played. Well, he did see the dock, though, but he won't be able to easily move out to be able to contest that, at least for the time being. Is sending a villager this way with a spearman to scout it. I like that. It has been 8 fishing ships versus 4, soon to be 5, though. And, I mean, there's just so much going right for Sebastian, guys. I think this is... Sebastian's going to be in a great spot to take this to the final game. Double range from Ganji, though, is a lot more army than Sebastian's making. Sebastian is adding the second range, and Sebastian even sells some stone, man. He loves his faster castle ages. But there's nothing worse than being faster to the next stage and then sacrificing army numbers. This is something that... So, it's funny how complicated it really gets, but 6 months ago, the market thing was really bad on Arabia. And we do see it more now than maybe we did 2 years ago still. But, like, players were just trying to race to castle age, get ballistics, and win the game. Now, I can give you further opinions on that later if you really want them, but I think it had to do with the Arabia generation. And anyways, so this is a problem I would have. I would just be like, all right, we're going to rush to the next stage and have all this army. But then you get to Castle Age and you might be behind in numbers. So that my point is that this could be a really awkward scenario for Sebastian if he doesn't have his numbers. But honestly, the more I look at it, there's such a difference in the Castle Age. It's insane. Let's actually look at the food collected. Dang, man. Yeah, and a lot of wood for Ganji, which could eventually pay off. And a lot of army for Ganji, but he can't really kill anything. We see a scout here from Sebastian. He might want to check some of these pawns. And he's now going to sneak his army. And did Ganji have any indication that was happening? Ooh, man. I don't know. Those archers are going to sneak out. Completely uncontested, and there's no hole here. All right, here he goes. Those berries being on the front's not going to feel too good either. Here comes Sebastian, getting crossbow and getting bodkin arrow. Kind of at the limit with his res after that. But still has plenty of food, even getting the university now. Here he comes. This is Ganji's point of view. He needs to get out of here with these villagers. He needs to click up. He needs to stay alive. And he probably needs to house wall everything to do that. Scouts are a really nice addition, too, because you can check the other pawns. Dang, man. He didn't sacrifice numbers at all. That was impressive. Now, if he would have moved out, I guess it would have been a problem, but it was well-timed to move his army out in the way he did, and now he can comfortably deal with this, no problem. And I think the bigger problem here, as Sebastian will kill another villager with those scouts, is that there's not a double house wall behind everything, right? Like, you would ideally have this all house walled, but you just didn't have the time here, Ganji. Ganji thought about turning around there. Sebastian noticed, and now Ganji's placing house walls here. Ganji had to sell his stone to get up as well. So honestly, this is Sebastian with the faster fish and slightly faster switch to berries. It's Japanese for you, man. Byzantines bail you out, like I said, but like, this uptime is nuts. This was not a... I've just looked at the time. It's 1930. It's not like this was a fast castle play. Dang. So overwhelming this must be right now for Ganji. The bigger issue right now for him is he can't take gold. He could go to this gold if he wants to, but he's not on it. And now he's going to use his stone to stone wall the backside because he knows this will become an issue soon. Pain! But impressive. Sometimes it's impressive to just watch someone stomp somebody, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Not in the series, obviously. But ballistics on the way now for Sebastian. Still fishing in the north, still fishing at home. Hasn't gone for the scout to the south, so that's something he could maybe consider doing. Ganji came back to this gold. So Ganji's got that now. But Ganji now has a hole here. And this army's about to break through, so now he needs more houses. Thank God for Byzantines, though, am I right? He'll probably know that Ballistics is being rushed by Sebastian. So, we'll see. And I think Sebastian felt like the army from Ganji was going to loop around to trap him. But now he sees the army here, so now he knows he can arrive to the gold. And Ganji leaves now. Will take some losses because Ballistics is in, though. 3 villagers down. KD's 13 to 16. And now we even see a siege workshop. Sebastian says, I know how good Byzantines are, and I'm sick of it. I don't want to play against that Civ in the Imperial Age, so let's kill with everything we've got. And so this is getting chased down. Realistically, could probably fight this because Elite Skirmisher isn't in. Man, Ganji, he's under so much pressure right now. He moved most of the villagers off this wood line, but now Sebastian will hit the next spot. And this is as we're seeing micro here from Ganji, so Ganji doesn't notice this. And there also will see the siege workshop. And oh my god. Second town center now coming out as well for the Uruguayan, who beat Margugu 3-0 in the round of 12 match. That was the fight to get into Platinum series. I thought that would go to 5 games. He showed that it will not. More army moving forward. Ganji's giving himself his best opportunity by just house-walling things out at home and trying to go counter because he's lost a lot, but everything he sends his way, Ganji has an answer to. Or Sebastian has an answer to, excuse me. Sebastian a little late with the micro there, though. Didn't fire with his mangonel. 2 TCs for him. And these crossbows are now going to loop around. But yeah, Ganji's like, he's very all in right now. He needs crossbow numbers, so he's going to have to dance. Both players trying to dance. Look at the micro nerds go. I think on the crossbow has somehow advanced up the hill. That was really funny. He will die. But originally that crossbow was being used to dance. Very rarely do you see it get that close without getting picked off. But both players wanting to focus on the main groups instead of the dancing units. And you can see Ganji's waiting for a shot. Dancing, dancing, dancing. Both players have ballistics. There's a much better eco right now for Ganji. No, not for Ganji. Sebastian. What am I talking about? He's transitioned to farms. He has had more fishing ships working. And he's got the better army right now. He's got more army. So this should be going to a game 5 at this rate, unless Ganji can somehow get a good defensive shot with the mangonel and maybe get a strong counterattack in. I like the 2 TCs. I think I would stay on 2 TCs personally. It should be a rush to Imperial Age with army at this point. You know it's bad when the Byzantine player can't justify making skirms. But this could be sneaky, man. Sebastian doesn't see this yet. This could get a whole lot worse for him as well, because it's not only his woodline, but it's his stone. So if the villagers leave the woodline, his stone could be hit. And now he's trying to run. Oh my god. Oh my god, his micro is sick. How did he not? How did he not lose all of his crossbows there? I would have lost all my crossbows because I'd be reacting to my woodline. That timing was perfect for Ganji. Like, that could have been the moment right there. Still has to be very careful, obviously. And, okay, that's more like it. Still, it feels like he has to push in because he doesn't have anything to do with that army, and he can't do it. Not comfortably, anyways, as Ganji's timing these attack rounds perfectly. And another big attack round there from Ganji. I don't know about this, Sebastian. I know your micro's good, but is it good enough? Look at him go. Ganji will lose the game if he doesn't clear this. He needs to clear this. He lands a big shot. He micros away. That can be repaired. Sebastian's food eco is still looking really good. Sebastian's still moving forward boldly, but maybe Ganji has slight chance. Defends with a siege now. Still has a crossbow army that could maybe surprise. Also, love how annoying Sebastian is. If there's one quality that I love in a player, when I'm casting, and I aspire to be when I'm playing, and that's annoying. I do this kind of stuff a lot. I'll just use a scout to attack a house, or just anything to give an attack signal on the location that's going to make him freak out when it doesn't matter. But here's the mangonel here. Ganji says, I can do this too. And is dodging nicely. This should be a kill, but it does depend on the timing. Split. He'll go for the repair villager now. Oh. The repairs? Oh, well played. And he also got a big clear up here. And now Sebastian's imping. Now Ganji's imping, but there's still an eco difference between them. They're both still making range units, and Sebastian has a whole lot more, and Sebastian has just as much siege. Don't worry, T90. To us, you're always annoying. Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment. That's not exactly what I meant, but I take what I can get, you know? 3 ranges versus 3 ranges, excuse me. I mean, it's been a great fight from Ganji, and he probably should continue because he's on the way up, and he knows it's cheaper for him. But he's one really bad fight away from calling this even before Imp, and I think when he sees the situation in Imp, he's going to be forced to tap out here. All right, classic crop shot there from Sebastian as he fires on the farm. And Sebastian will just hold this hill, and oh, Ganji! Dang, that was good. It almost got 2. I'd be a little more hesitant about this if I were Sebastian now, but he's going to drop this far enough back where the siege wouldn't be able to deny it. And there goes the castle. Ganji will see this. Ganji will delete his houses to run out here to deny this. If there's a way to throw the game, this will be it, Sebastian. It's also a way to finish off the game. Big shot. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. No way. This is why you don't call it. This is why you continue to fight. Ganji's got a chance. Sebastian's castle is not going to go up. And there was that one shot earlier from Ganji that almost took out both the mangonels that made the difference there, right? Now, Sebastian might be real boneheaded about this because he's got to have... Like, when I say boneheaded, if you don't know what that means, it means stubborn because he's got the upgrades coming in. But he doesn't have them yet. He wants this castle to go up. And yeah, Bracer and Arbalest means the siege is not as much of an issue. But now the army number's a bit closer. Here he comes. Ganji being patient with the micro. Gets a big shot. Still has a mangonel here. And is going to have skirms. And the mangonel... Oh my god, you're kidding me. What's happening? Oh my god, what's happening? Oh my god. Sebastian could lose this game. Guys, there's 12 skirms in queue. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but all the arbs are dying, and Sebastian might lose this game. What a hold from Ganji. Holy crap, man. He's gotten so much value from some of these engagements. And I mentioned that Ganji's more of like a late game player. Sebastian's more about finishing the game off fast. Like, I feel like the way this game is developed, Sebastian's going to try and go elite skirmisher, but trying to do that against the Byzantines is insane. It's not insane. It makes sense with the setup because you have so many ranges. What else are you going to make against the ranges? But it's not easy. Ganji's siege micro is incredible as he goes for another attack round and is catching up on some upgrades now. But he's still full on 1 TC, 54 eco versus 87, as he will use his range units against the siege from his opponent and picks it off. Dang, I'm really worried for Sebastian right now. I thought this game was so over. Now, again, if he gets that castle up, I think it is over, genuinely. Because then he's trebbing down everything, and then Ganji can't move out at all. Or if he does move out, he you know, he doesn't have an answer to trebuchets even. Now, something I should mention is that the skirms don't have armor, or full armor yet, and there's also no arbalest. So that's why Sebastian's taking this fight. He's probably thinking, well, I do still kill skirmishers. But guys, he's going to lose all of his arbs, and the score is going to flip. The army count for Ganji's so high. Dang. And all this game is about is ranged units. Ranged units, ranged units, ranged units. That eco count's high, but he doesn't have the eco to switch into anything else. And if you try and make skirms, you're making skirms that are full price against a guy who's cheap skirms. No one wants to be doing that. Also, Ganji's got some nifty little micro here, too. He's like, look at this, dodging some shots here or there. Also, I think the issue for Sebastian as well now is like his villagers, he can't put his villagers where he wants them or needs them because he's receiving all this pressure. And now we have Arbalest from Ganji, which he had to use the market to get to, and also getting more armor, which is only going to make his army stronger. If this was like 70 builds versus 100, I think it's over. The fact it's 56 versus 100, I'm not so sure. Ganji's still on 1 TC. The army count's still even. And you can notice how weak the skirms are without armor, guys. That's why Ganji has to micro so much. Normally, you shouldn't have to micro. And Sebastian's going to push it right back. Now, Imp Armor's on the way, but suddenly there's no army for Ganji. This might be the moment. Bring your Vills and come finish this castle. As soon as possible. Also, he's going to drop a castle here. Having a castle just for conscription could be really nice here. Barb micro, good stuff. Skirm armor still taking forever to come in. I guess he canceled Arbalest. Ganji also clearly distracted because he just is making a hand cannon now, which I think is a hotkey misclick. And all the Arbs! Okay, now that armor's in, though. Now these Arbalest are going to struggle a bit more. Arbalest is such a strong unit, though. the difference in firing speed is what does it for me. It's just... Then the poor skirmisher has to reload for like 18 years between each shot. Okay, so now Ganji has a decision to make. Do you stop the castle or do you take out the army? And I feel like either way, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? He's going to use his crossbows against the villagers. And I guess his skirms against the Arbs. And so he will deny it for now. Oh, Sebastian. I think he can do it now. I mean, his eco's looking better. He does have a castle, which could mean siege or conscription. I would love to see it even just to hold the game now, a castle at home. Like, your opponent can't push you with anything. We haven't seen bomber cannons or trebs. So instead of trying to go for the kill as much, you could just play defensive from here for a bit. It has the hill. This is also not bad if Ganji doesn't micro every single shot because some of the vills will get hit, which you don't really care about. Oh, Ganji's gonna drop a castle here, though. This is an in-your-face castle, and there's so many skirms. And now Sebastian's gonna send the vills. But, I mean, he doesn't have army anymore. He's losing his army. Ganji's still got more army in queue, as does Sebastian, but his army's just not as strong. Kind of, sort of, depending on the situation. Obviously, it all depends. Ganji's castle doesn't go up. On our screen, we have 2 castles that have been abandoned by the villagers. Or the villagers have been killed. Because of treacherous conditions. What is this game? What is this game, man? I think Ganji can do it. But he needs to sacrifice more vills. And does he have the vills to sacrifice? I think it's over. Unless there's a castle here from Sebastian. Like, he's losing all of his vills. Sebastian's losing all of his army. And he just cannot field army fast enough. And also, he does not have any other type of unit to make. And don't tell me Samurai, because Samurai would die to this as well. Unless he's got elite. Unless he's got multiple castles to spam them from. And it's just not the case. He will drop his own castle over here, but... this is a big problem, and now the Byzantine player will have the access to trebuchets. Yeah, I agree. I think he was stubborn with this, and I think he could have deleted that one a long time ago. He's probably forgotten about it now. Yeah, if Ganji sees this castle's going up, it's just an invitation to make some trebuchets. I don't know if you actually try and deny this if you're Ganji. I think you're happy enough to treb it down, and what you don't want is to lose your army here. But I guess your opponent doesn't have murder holds, so sitting here is not the worst. That's actually really smart, because the villagers will be garrisoned. And then when if the villagers get garrisoned, maybe to attack their army. Okay, he just runs away. Krebs on the way from... Well, we'll be both players soon, but actually, Sebastian doesn't have any gold being mined right now. And Ganji's still on his main gold. Oh my god, what a game. This is so sick. You see what I mean, though, about Byzantines, man? Byzantines are insane. But Ganji, it's also why in those games where you might say this is over, why won't this person resign? It's also why high-level players try on past a certain point. Most exciting battle of the entire event, Skirmisher v Skirmisher. And then we have a regular unupgraded Castle Age Ram. But Ganji's doing a good job of focus firing. Though that Ram does make Ganji's work a whole lot more difficult. Sebastian's still not dead yet. He's like, I have the economy to make more skirmishers, alright? Oh, you got cheap skirmishers? What a noob. I've got economy. He got his gold back. He's making his trebs. Both players are actually really light on stone as well. I still think it'd be really funny if Sebastian were to just loop in now and finish this castle. Because it will cut off so many reinforcements and make Ganji's life so difficult. Like, now might be the time where I would think about it, but he's already tried it, like, so many different times. I don't even know what to say. Oh my god, wait, here he comes, actually. He had Vils over here. Okay, so he's cutting them off right now. There could be some units here that hit it, but I think Sebastian can still do this, actually. He's got his trebs going in there. Also, Ganji's trebs, like, kind of didn't know what to do there for a second because they were worried. There's also no repair villagers. Finish the castle! Let's go! Let's go! This might win him the game and take us to a game 5. Yes! He takes out the castle in the middle. He completes his own castle. Better late than never. And now do we see the GG because there's more skirms from Sebastian than there is Ganji. And all of Ganji's trebs are going to go down. Oh my god. Holy crap. That was a sick game. That was a sick game. I mean, Ganji was at the limit for so long there. He should have died, but Sebastian overextended a couple times there, and then suddenly the numbers were an issue for Sebastian. But I think, like, every time he had a good moment, he's like, all right, let's fix my eco. Let's make sure we get more farms. Let's get more production buildings down. Let's get our unit queue. I mean, resources collected, such a massive difference that while he was losing a lot of fights, and some of that was because Byzantines are strong and can make a lot of units. Some of that was also because he was just taking bad fights. He finally figured it out. More wood, more food, more gold, more stone. Still kind of ends the game at the limit. But, poof. Yeah, what a crazy game there. Yeah, I understand his thinking in early Imperial Age to have a forward castle against the Byzantines. He wouldn't know that he was 50 villagers ahead, so... And also, he's confident enough to do those types of things, and sometimes it can just bite you. But, I mean, finish the castle. It was fine, man. It was fine. We were right. This castle wins him the game. We just didn't know it would take 20 minutes to complete it. All right, so that means we go to the 5th game. Dang. Also, I love how, like, I wish it showed a breakdown of their focus in APM. This is where Ganji was clicking a bunch with his micro, but I guarantee you he was not looking back at his eco much. His food eco's so bad. He didn't even outfish his pond. Like, he still had salmon back there, which tells you just how weak his eco was. But, I mean, again, it was a heck of a game there. Someone asked about why not making cataphracts. I mean, you could make a cataphract for a ram, but when you have 61 food in the bank, you can't even afford a cataphract. If you had to decide between skirm numbers and one cataphract, you'd probably always choose skirm numbers. I don't know. It's like... I guess, like, the ram wasn't the big deal. The big deal was that he hadn't won the game yet, and he couldn't continue to snowball his push. But he sure fought. And he sure tried. And I love the Turks. I think Turks are such a sick civ, and I'm so happy that people started to figure that out more and more near the tail end of the league. It was like everyone was going Poles, Bohemians, Burgundians, and I just kept seeing, like, Burgundians beat those civilizations. And then it turned into a situation where some civs started to get banned. We did not have a ban in this draft. on the Burgundians. However, what Robo has told me is that the Burgundians are 0-3 versus Turks in this event. So we only had this matchup 3 times. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I remember, actually, I remember Nilly versus Draken fortified clearing. I'm trying to remember all the Burgundians versus Turks sets. Now, this is group stage included. This seems like a really good trivia question. Okay, so let me think on this, because they're just going to... Actually, we might see a boar steal from Sebastian. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. And Ganji, will he know his boar was there? I think he notices it. Ooh, man. Okay, we'll see if Sebastian gets that back. Okay, so we'll follow this scout as we try and remember. That would be cav archers and bombard cannons. MBL? No. I know Velez played Turks a lot. I remember an arena game with Velez. Wait, it didn't have to be fortified clearing. Yeah, okay, so... Shoot! Ganji's going to chase this down. As far as he knows, he's lost 2 sheep as well. Sebastian has chased them, hid them in the south. This is huge. Especially against the Burgundians, because the Burgundians normally have their resources, and normally have a big boom. And Ganji's going to have to try and go for a block. I'll show you the boar's point of view here. This is what Gaia can see. So if Red Scout ever leaves that... Oh, there it is. It's going to stop. And now Sebastian, give up on it, my friend. Do not try and... Sebastian. Oh, he's trying to block it so he can bring his Vil? What in the... He doesn't even have Loom, man. He doesn't even have Loom. He's trying to get Ganji to block it for him. No. Oh, he got the hit, but he doesn't have Loom. You're crazy. You're crazy. Okay, well, the boar gets its revenge. Now the scout's weak. Now Ganji should kill the scout. And now the boar's going to wander home. So as long as Ganji actually has resources for now, I think he'd prefer this. Oh, Sebastian. Guys, I'm going to blame... Oh, he also lost a villager to a boar at the same time. Oh, no. Oh, Sebastian. Now, I know you guys are like, wow, we should talk about Sebastian. No, I'm going to talk about Beery. Beery, I blame you for that, bro. So you see this little DS in front of Sebastian's name? That stands for Dark Side, and Beery and all of his underlings, his whole clan, they love to lame, okay? And so Beery started to do this thing where he would lame, and he'd always send the Vil to like the middle of the map with Loom to get the boar. And I bet you any money, the only reason that was in Sebastian's mind is because of that guy. Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, there's a risk with laming, right? You're now down a scout. Or is he down a scout? Oh, no, he has a scout. That's good. But he's down 2 villagers, and he's up against Burgundians, which is painful, painful, painful. But it's not easy if you ever tried to lame a boar, so I can understand why he was focused, and maybe he should have just given up on the boar after a while and never sent his villager forward. Lots of pressure, too, here, obviously. He's going to get away with the pigs, though, it looks like. I don't know, like, what you do to go all in YOLO, but this might be in Sebastian's mind that he has to go all in. There's also a slight chance that he doesn't realize he lost that other Vil. And if he doesn't realize he lost that other Vil, in his mind, he'll think he's only 1 Vil behind. So the key is just not to pay attention, and then you won't be upset with yourself. And this deer is not cooperating at all, so it needs to just give it another hit. And it'll just recenter itself, and then you can get another hit to finish it off here. There you go. I mean, if I'm Ganji, I'm loving life. And whoa, Ganji, who, by the way, didn't research any eco upgrades in the early ages here. Oh, wait. Is this a boom build? I'm very confused. If it was 2 lumber camps, it'd be a boom build. If it is not 2 lumber camps, it's a rush build. Okay. Ganji's going to go tower rush. Ganji's going to attack the walls. I actually really like this because, well, I like it if he gets his eco upgrades. But if feudal age is much longer for both players, that only favors the player who can have castle age eco upgrades one age earlier. Right? Yeah, so he's going to tower rush, and I think the reason he's on gold is he wanted to go for archers, but I think he doesn't have his build perfect for that yet. Also, Sebastian is going to stone. So I think Sebastian wants to go fast castle, and we'll see if that's going to be easy for him as he brings some pigs back home. And now he immediately sees this as a tower play. He might be tempted to rush with everything, but he does not have loom. So Vil fighting would be a very risky play here. And oh boy. Oh, he deleted a villager. Oh my god, he deleted a villager instead of the walls. Poor Sebastian is not having the best finish to Titans League. Oh, god. Well, maybe like all of his bad moments happened in this game instead of earlier on in the event. Think about it that way, right? This is good. He saved all of his bad moments through the whole event for this. And he's already qualified for the main league, so who cares? We got a range now for Ganji, who's like, have fun with that. You might as well make palisade walls where your stone walls were. Honestly, not super impressed with Ganji's eco either. Like, has way too much gold, and that's going to need to be something that he fixes, but he does have a lot more vills. So 3 villagers were lost by Sebastian in this game, but then he also deleted a villager, so he's down 4 vills, I believe. Something like that. And, you know, this game snowballs on you. You get frustrated, and then you just keep making mistakes, and it's never a great feeling. He did get loomed, though, so congratulations to him for doing that. I think his only choice right now is to try and go Castle Age, and then he has to go for defensive towers. Fortunately for him, he's got the stone. This also makes like no sense. And it doesn't even show the death of the villager he deleted. Gaia has more kills than Ganji right now. Okay, so there's another tower. Ganji's still looking to apply pressure. Squeaking out the Castle Age wood upgrade now. Again, like, you know, just got 1 lumber camp. Timing on everything is a little crazy. It definitely seems like they're both a little bit exhausted after a wild series. Hey, I mean, if you can somehow use the market and get to Castle Age faster if you're Sebastian and drop a castle, he's close. He could do this. It's not like Ganji's going to have a 21-minute or even like a 23-minute castle time at this point. Like, this is going to be really delayed. Now, I guess the concern now is, like, are you going to have the stone for a castle if you make it there? Also, your opponent has archers, so what Ganji's rush is doing is he's using archers to fire out of his tower, and then Sebastian has to have idle villagers. So Sebastian's eco is even worse. That's why this strategy can be really strong, even if you don't kill anything. Great micro there from Ganji, as he's just trying to batter down this wall. Sebastian will have to repair. There's the market for Sebastian. Sebastian runs away with this Vil. Ganji's going to run away with this Vil. Yep, this is textbook. This is great stuff from Ganji. And he could always make another tower here soon, which could hit the wood line, and Sebastian's using all of his stone to repair. More repair villagers. Ganji moving that villager to the side. Goes back into the tower. Goes back to attack the wall. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Honestly, impressive that both players haven't lost villagers here. And we'll look at the economy now. It's great since you're Burgundians, but it's not quite as smooth as maybe you would want. But you also wouldn't normally get the smooth eco I'm looking for if you're not going for this type of a play. Or sorry, if you are going for this type of a play, I guess is the way to say it. There goes Sebastian. I'm telling you, there's a chance, man. It couldn't have been a worse start for him. Okay, archers are going to be in. Okay, so here they go. There's the next tower. So I would... Oh, man, this is so rough. Because you kind of need this lumber camp, too. It's not like you can just YOLO. Okay, you know what? Maybe for now, you can get away with just the straggler trees. And then, like, all your eco goes to stone. And then you drop a castle. And then if your castle's here, you can shoot down these towers, take your lumber camp back. There's a chance, man. There is a chance. He's got gold, too. No, Ganji, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Oh, he sniped the Vil. That distraction was enough to snipe the Vil. I mean, maybe it's worth it, but I think if he goes this way, there's a house wall and the TC shoots down the archers. If he goes this way, there's another tower here, so... Let's look at that Ganji eco. Again, there's lots of wood, not so much food. His castle time's going to be so bad. But... Sebastian's eco is so bad. And he can buy, right now he can buy 200 stone. So he's definitely going to get a castle. It's just a matter of where the castle is and how much damage can he do with it. As another Vil goes down there for Ganji. Alright. Sebastian can win this game. I think if you know your opponent's down 2 villagers, you just boom to Castle Age. I don't love the strategy here from Ganji. He ended up getting his boar back. I think he's going for the kill, right? Like if your opponent's on the back foot, sometimes you got to go in for the KO. But definitely could have taken this later, especially the type of player he is. It feels like the longer the game goes, the better it can be. All right, so you've got archers inside the towers. This castle's going to go up. Ganji's now panicking with the market, and he needs to click up. He has his buildings now. He will know that the stone walls on the front only have 900 HP. In feudal, so he wants to make sure he gets the castle as soon as possible. Sebastian needs to rely on that market and forget about everything on the sides for the time being. Guy's got 2 farms right now. His eco is disastrous, but he could buy food, make janissaries, clean up his eco. I think you stay all in 1 TC. Your eco's been struggling. Focus on the army numbers and focus on a little bit of a push would be my approach. Having a few archers might not necessarily be bad for Ganji, so I'm wondering if Ganji will go... Yeah, you can tell he's worried about a push, so I think he's going to end up... This is kind of funny. Yeah, I think he's going to end up getting crossbow, maybe. I think crossbow's cheap enough where it's worth it here. Especially if you think this is going to be a siege janissary play. Which I believe is what we're going to see. Ganji wanting to wall the sides is fine. I don't mind that, but your opponent's definitely pushing mid. So I just don't know if the time is right for that. But they know that the opponent has avenues to attack, and they're concerned. But yeah, maybe he doesn't want to go for crossbow because he's currently attacking with archers. But okay, that villager boldly attacks the archers. And now she's going to build the siege workshop. And so, resources collected this game. A lot more for Ganji. Let's see if that castle can go up for Ganji. Doesn't quite have the stone yet. Oh, man. Also, 8 range on the janissaries means they can range some of that stone, too. Still, only 4 farms, though, for Sebastian. Look how much he has on gold. And he's going to make a mangonel, and here he comes. There's the castle for Ganji, though. He bought it. That's a perfect castle spot. Also, this is perfect. So he can protect himself over here with a double layer. This castle protects this area. Okay, and I think... Now, if you can get the stone again, then you can add the second TC. Honestly, I still wouldn't mind Sebastian pushing this area. I know that double stone wall is something that could, like, really stop the push for a while, but you have the siege, you have janissaries. I think you just still try and push anyways. You'll get through faster than you think. And at least make it so Ganji... Like, if you don't push, Ganji just booms with a really good economy with Burgundians. So I think you push. And then I think you have to push here to force another castle or to force some type of military. Because what on earth do you even make against Janissary Mangonel? Janissary Mangonel is one of your best... It's one of the best all-in Castle Age comps in the game, except it's just very slow. We actually have villagers going, oh, he's going to castle drop on the outside. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's... That's actually maybe not a bad play. I don't actually know. Ganji's villager is making an outpost, and she's going to die. But there's a Coustier heading out the outside. I'd like to see Ganji a fortified wall. I'd love to see him maybe consider a siege workshop. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's also a hole back here. Okay, no, there's walls. No way. So he doesn't even see it. He figures I have the walls at home. I boom for now. I take the outside. That's smart. Oh, man. This is so much fun. The final game in Titans League. This is so messy, though. And okay, so he's clearly giving up on the middle. But you see what I mean, though? You at least forced fortified walls, so that's something else. Oh, man. Okay, so there's no hole here, right? Okay, so he just drops a castle. Ganji's gonna be like, let's choose another location for our TC and let's make more stone walls. We have 0 relics collected, though that's obviously something we normally see. And Sebastian needs to get some villagers on wood, man. Like, he really needs villagers on wood. I think the wood, he wanted to castle this side, so he pulled all of his lumberjacks over, and now he's going to realize. Anyways, he really wants to break through this wall. Fortified wall is holding. The castle will go up, which could lead to more Janissaries, but you do need resources for that. That's a lot of Janissaries. He's got 17 of them. What's the idle TC time? Yep, 7.5 minutes. As expected. Full army, man. And we have full fat slob, full walls right now for Ganji because he's terrified, and he should be. This is the way to do it, though. Like, this is... It might seem like it's too much walling, but no, like, this is the win condition for the opponent. Stone walls over here, a couple units that could maybe get in. That would be nice. And, man, petards would be helpful, too. And there's a petard that takes out the wall. Fat slob from Ganji. He has 15 villagers in queue, though. 15 vills. He's going to drop another town center. I honestly, I think if he would drop a castle here instead of the TCs, like, I don't care how much you have to buy and sell. Drop a castle here so this push doesn't get out of hand. Then I think you've won the game because there's no way your opponent can realistically do damage. This tower is going to be taken out. The archer is going to be taken out. That's fine. Yeah, you only need to stop this army from getting in. And there's a risk that stone walls won't be enough. So I'd say castle's the way to do it. Sebastian worried about these units here, as he should be. He still has to focus here. He's mastering petards. The thing about petards is it takes 3 to take out a fortified wall. However, that's only if it's petards. Janissaries aren't that bad. And villagers also help a decent amount, too, because villagers have a bonus damage versus walls. So it's not like a crazy bonus damage, but it's still something, which could mean that 2 petards could be enough, and Ganji could lose this game, and now Ganji's dropping a tower. You're gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. I feel like the previous game, see what I mean? How weak that is? I feel like the previous game broke both of their brains. Because the previous game was so messy and so ridiculous. What is happening? Like, Sebastian has 0 on food. Ah! Oh my god. Oh, he gets a conversion too. Like, Ganji's got to be losing his mind right now. He is expanding his eco, but 3 or 4 layers of fortified walls were not enough. And a castle, which he's buying. He's going to drop another castle right on Ganji's face. And Ganji's like, we tower. Yeah, tower. Guard tower's on the way. He's going to send some units in here. He really feels like he needs to deny this. But I don't know, man. That's a lot of villagers. And also, watch the conversions. Boom, boom. Or maybe just boom. One tower's up. Guard tower's 5 seconds off. Maybe this will stop it. This could be the game right here, one way or another. Here are the vills. And actually, Sebastian backs away, and you know, guard tower was clutch. Could have so easily been seen as a waste. And so, what's the plan now, Sebastian? Okay, so he's going to try again. Bodcanero needs to come in, though. Like, Bodcanero would be super helpful. Maybe he just heals up the vills for a bit and then goes back for another wave. Because here's what's funny about that idea. What does Ganji ever do? If Ganji kills the vills, it's different. But look, Sebastian, he like pulled this one to the side. Okay, so they got to 75%. That's not bad. That's progress right there. Man, the market prices are insane. This is such a clowny game. He drops his own tower. Nice farming eco, Sebastian. Oh my god. Okay, so he's coming with more vills and siege. And Ganji is looking to get damaged. Ganji can wreck this whole eco, though, with this. And now... Oh, so he's putting the weak vills inside the tower. That's the play. Maybe. The 84%. 35 vills versus 91. You need your army here, Sebastian. Sebastian's reacting on his gold. Sebastian's reacting on his gold. And so he's lost stuff on the front. But here he goes for the castle. Can Ganji win the series? More villagers are on the way. It's a long and lonely road. And Ganji's going to drop his own castle. So the villagers that are remaining, they have to do the job. Wait, no, Ganji, he's thought twice about it. Okay, villagers are now more desperate because they see the enemy's got to have a castle. And that's not fair. We only have 2 villagers here. And the GG's called. The GG is called. That was crazy, man. That was like so far below the level that I know these two can bring to the table. But again, the previous game was wild, and I think that had something to do with it. Also been a fairly long series, and both players, of course, they're already through. They're already through to Platinum. To sum up this game, like I think that Sebastian kind of screwed himself over in Dark Age. The lane wasn't a bad attempt, but to send a Vill forward to try and snag that boar, and then in doing so lose a villager, set him really far behind. I think, honestly, for Ganji, his only like massive mistake this game was just not leaning on the market to drop a castle here. The fact that units got in here gave Sebastian a chance. Fortified wall was great, but you just gotta... Janissary Petard's actually quite good at busting through. You just gotta drop a castle, I think, before he advances. When he's attacking here, and you've got the second layer, instead of adding the third layer, just... You've got eco. Just buy and sell stuff. But yeah, the tower defense also did end up being clutch. There are a lot of instances where the player who makes those towers doesn't end up denying the castle, and then they end up GGing because the castle goes up, shoots everything down, including their villagers. But man, that castle at 88%. But yeah, I'm excited for these two. These guys now have like 5-6 months until the next season. And I think they'll know that they will be some of the favorites to get relegated out of the top 24, because the top 24 is something that I think both of them have never really, they have not been in that conversation, and they earned it because of how good they played throughout the league system. So, Sebastian, I think, is an amazing chance because Sebastian is so good in some of the open maps, like Atacama. We saw him on Cross. Like, any type of really aggressive scenario, I think he can beat some of the top 24 players. Ganji, I think, is more of a strategical mind, so Ganji may have as more potential as a player to be like the other players in that top 24 conversation, just because of how he tends to play. That, of course, is difficult because you're trying to play just like them. They might just edge you out, but I had a great time casting this series. I'm really glad the final series went to the 5th game. Congratulations to both for giving us a great series, and obviously a bit more prize pool, but more than anything, promoting, man. That That was crazy. What was the resource difference? 23,000 versus 14,000. Honestly, not as big a difference as I thought. I thought it was going to be like 10,000 plus resources difference. Especially because Sebastian had no food. He just had no food eco.